No holding back, no stepping stones, no broken promises, no busy tones. Just what
Good morning. It's, what is today? Tuesday? I wanted to say Monday. It's Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. This is The Lead Live. I'm Louis Amestoy. And let's knock out breast cancer. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month presented by Peterson Health. We are very happy that they are here with us today, or they're sponsoring the show. Oh, look, there's Andrew Gay. Let's get rid of Andrew for a second. Let's get to our sponsors. Peterson Health, bringing you the show today. They're elevating healthcare across Kirk County and the Hill Country. Shriner University celebrating 100 years of excellence here. Our good friends at Ken Stopel Ford for all your needs. Go visit them today. And Fitch Estate Sales went to their estate sale on Sunday. And Gibson's Discount Center. Everything you could possibly want is there. And then some. Wahlberg's Unlimited, Nemke Physical Therapy, and K-Pub. Safe, reliable, and yours. Kerrville Pets Alive, Killdeer Manufacturing, and Arcadia Live. Our good friends over at State Farm, Amber Thomason, and the Hill Country Podcast with Tom Fox. Fresh and Fit with Wendy Jones, Greg A. Richards, attorney at law, and the Kerrville Convention and Visitors Bureau. And, of course, Napa Auto Parts, Kirk County African Title Company, the Texas Hill Country Advisors, and Inn of the Hills, and, of course, Pint and Plow, where we are broadcasting live this morning, although they're closed today. Don't forget that for all your service needs, go to see the folks at Ken Stopel Ford in Quick Lane. They have tire and auto. They can get you inspected. They can get you back on the road in a hurry at Ken Stopel Ford. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Lead Live. I'm Louis Amestoy. It is a drippy morning. Doug is here.
I'm here.
Doug, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm loving the weather, man.
Doug from Gibson's is on scene.
Yeah.
So, we have a kind of an interesting show today. For the first time ever, we're like in a bank phase right now. It's kind of interesting. South Star Bank is one of our new sponsors, but here for the first time ever are the folks from across the street. They were once called Pioneer Bank. Now they are Sunflower Bank. Yes. How are you guys?
Good.
We have Hannah and we have Sylvia. Although I like the name Sylvita.
Sylvita, I do too.
I love that name. That's a good name. And Hannah, you're the manager over there?
I am.
All right. And it's the Sunflower Bank, and it's in the historic former City Hall.
Yes, it is.
So there you go. Is there any is it haunted at all? Is there any kind of haunting of that place?
We thought it was, but it was just our pipes moving.
Yeah. Just your pipes.
It was the wall. The pipes were banging against it.
Right.
Down in the dungeon.
Down in the dungeon.
So it was really creepy because it was the noise coming from down there.
Yeah, they probably kept people down there, didn't they?
Well, I told people they did. Yeah.
Right.
And it was the jail, I guess.
There probably was a little jail down there at some point.
Fire
A
station.
customer came also, and he was like, "Oh yeah."
I was locked up here.
Mike is gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I was locked up here. Now I'm banking here.
Yeah, right.
Now, I know my money's really sick, so I was locked up here. They're going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the world of banking. They have a kind of a cool program they're working on for local students, and we'll talk about that here momentarily. Doug, how are you otherwise? What's going on?
Good, yeah. I'm loving the fact that we got a little bit of wet, man.
Were you pleased? And I still have to put the photos out there, and I got some nice ones too of the Cobra show.
Yeah, the Cobra show was great, man. We had 18 cars out.
Yeah.
And
they came in a fleet, by the way.
They did.
And it was funny because I saw them. I was turning left onto Main Street. Off of Sidney Baker, and here they came in their little fleet, you know.
Yeah.
And every single one of those took that turn right in front of Broadway Bank, another bank, boom, 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 you know, like as hard as they could. It was pretty fun, you know.
Well, you know, those cars are so low, and they handle really well. So,
right.
Yeah, that was great to have them out. There was a bunch of great guys, and the cars are beautiful, and yeah, it was wonderful.
Absolutely. All right, Texas Hill Country Advisors, Andrew Gay. He's in his facility today. How's the weather look over there, Andrew? What are you seeing over there? You can look out and see it.
It's a little gray and a little wet and a little cloudy, but I think I think we would all agree that that's nice to see.
Yes.
So,
well, you know what's nice to see is kind of that nice light soaking rain. You know, that's what's nice is to have that rain just kind of soak in and but you know what's crazy though? It's 71 degrees already. So I came in this morning like I don't have to wear anything other than my shirt sleeves and I'm good. So
Yeah, well, we got it this morning, so
Yeah.
I hope that it continues. That's great. We need it.
But like someone's gonna be like fully decked out for fall though, right? I mean, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, look at how I look." I mean, because it's cold outside. No, it's not. It's gonna be 80 today.
No, not.
So
Next week, though, right?
next week, I think next week they're saying I was looking at the National Weather Service their deep dive into things, and they're saying there's a good chance of a cold front Monday, but they're also not completely 100% on that. So we'll see how that goes. All right, Andrew, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, I got a great segue for you too. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about interest rates today, and that'd be a great segue, I think, for your banking phase that you're currently in, which is great, I think. Andrew Gay here, independent financial advisor with Texas Hill Country Advisors. We offer securities and investment advisory services through Next Financial Group, member FINRA SIPC. Markets closed mixed yesterday. NASDAQ notched a gain on the day. And so far this morning, all three major U.S. stock indexes are trading positive to start today's trading session. On the docket this week are tech companies due to report earnings for the third quarter of this year. About 30%, in addition to the tech companies, about 30% of the S&P is scheduled to report this week, including some big names today. Microsoft and Alphabet are set to report earnings after the market closes. About 3/4 of the companies so far that have reported earnings have beat analyst expectations, according to CNBC and FactSet. So there's still more to come and to develop on company earnings. We'll be watching that. Investors will be watching that over the next week and a half or so. And then lastly, traders are also keeping an eye on the benchmark 10-year U.S. Treasury yield that is sitting right now about at 5%, roughly, just under 5% actually, which is its 16-year high as we close in on the November 1st Fed meeting, which is coming up quick. So I wanted to mention something today about interest rates and the elevated level that they're currently at. We've talked about it before, but I just wanted to say something else, a little blurb about them today. So we know historically rates eventually peak out at some point after the rate hiking cycles from the Fed and then eventually fall. And over the last 13 rate hiking cycles from the Fed going back to the 1950s, rates fall at an average of 4% over the following 32 months after they peak out. So it's hard to predict the exact time of when that peak in interest rates is going to happen, but we know that we're getting pretty close. And we might have already passed the peak if the Fed does not hike at their next meeting in November. So this might be a great time to look at trying to lock in some kind of current interest rate on savings, because that way you don't fall with falling interest rates over the next 2 or 3 years if we did in fact peak out. So things like short-term stuff like CDs, or we even offer here brokered CDs and other products that allow you to lock in some of those elevated interest rates right now in your savings. But a lot of the stuff that we do as far as CDs and whatnot have minimums on them, usually something like 100,000. So even if you don't have that, we can still have a financial conversation with you about your financial health and your financial well-being and planning. But we would probably refer you out to one of our local bank partners, whether that's Sunflower, which I know you have there today,
Yes.
Southstar, Happy State, or even Broadway, to maybe have to look at some CD options if you didn't meet the minimum with what we have. But we can always talk to you and always have a conversation here at Texas Hill Country Advisors. So we'd always be happy to do that.
Andrew, Coca-Cola announced today they had exceeded their earnings expectations. So that's kind of one of those interesting ones to watch too. GM also announced that they had higher earnings than they expected, although they're pulling back a little bit on that, saying because they have the strikes are going on and that's costing them some bucks.
And it is good. Like I was saying, 3/4 of the companies that reported so far have reported above analyst expectations. Some of that could, if you really wanted to play devil's advocate, some of that you could say that after second quarter earnings, a lot of analysts kind of tamped down their expectations about what they were expecting these companies to report in terms of revenues and profits, just because we kind of expected that we would be in a little bit more of an economic slowdown, I think, than we currently are, because the economy still remains robust with elevated wages and the tight labor market and spending continuing to pop off. So I think that that's it's not really it's good, but it might be a little watered down, if you will.
Right.
But either way, it's still good. The economy's still ripping and roaring in the face of higher interest rates. But we do think that eventually over the next, especially as we get into 2024, we're going to continue to see some of that economic softening, I think, from the backdrop of higher interest rates as time marches on.
All right. As always, Andrew Gay gives us the lowdown on what's going on in the economy every day here on The Lead, Monday through Friday. Go visit him at Texas Country Advisors. They're on the 5th floor of the tower down there across the way, the
Kerrville South Tower.
Kerrville
That's
South Tower. Speaking of towers, we're going to now go out to Mountain Home. Live look here at Wendy Jones. Good morning, Wendy. How are you? Oh, I have you muted. I'm sorry. I apologize, Wendy. Don't. Oh, there you go. Wendy's here now. Thank you, Wendy.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great. It's raining out here. It's a lovely day.
It's a lovely day. By the way, I just saw a story that bears are now coming back to the hill country, so be on the lookout.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's
Yep.
a little alarming.
Oh, it's all right though. I mean, maybe they'll take down some deer, or a poodle.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you got going on?
I want to talk today about something called body dysmorphia. I don't know if that's a common term that most people know, or if it's people more in my industry, but it's a very common issue. It's considered a mental health issue. And I think probably it's men and women, and I think we all probably can think of one person we know that have this, whether they know they have it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But what body dysmorphia is when a person is obsessively focused on their flaws, and these flaws are normally unnoticeable to other people. So these are people that you might notice are checking the mirror obsessively, and I mean obsessively. They're constantly
Kind of like this,
seeking reassurance.
kind of like this, like.
Yeah, they're checking those flaws all the time. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of flaws here in this
Yeah.
face. So.
Well, and they constantly want reassurance from other people. They may be excessively grooming all the time, or maybe even excessively having cosmetic procedures. Sometimes these are people that avoid social settings altogether. They don't want to be around people. And so you can see this is an issue that will impair someone's daily life.
Right.
It affects their self-esteem and makes them sometimes not even want to leave the house. So my advice, if you have a friend or a loved one that suffers from this, is my advice is there's nothing you can do to help them, because it's a mental health issue. It's kind of in the same boat with bulimia and anorexia. For me, there's nothing I as a trainer can do to help someone with those issues.
Right.
These are things that require professional help. Excuse me. So what we should do is encourage that professional help. And then also just, not be judgmental. And you can't say things like, "Oh my God, you're ridiculous. You're beautiful."
Right.
That doesn't register with
No.
them. I just read a story this morning about a girl who constantly she's checking her wrist measurement.
Right.
And just to make sure that she still can reach around her wrist. And she does that, constantly all day, every day.
Wait a minute, let me see.
So,
Let me see how this looks here for everybody. Let's see. I got it. I did it. What does that mean exactly? Does that mean
Imagine being so focused on something like that, though, all day, to the point where it interferes with your daily life?
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's an issue. So, and then the other thing you could do is just be empathetic, and if you don't have it, you don't understand it, just like any other mental disorder. But just being empathetic and encouraging them to get some professional help is the best thing you can do.
You know what? I remember when I was worried about my ears were sagging, and I had those. They were like they're kind of going underneath my headphones, and I was like, "Oh my God, my ears are sagging." It's an old man thing. You know how I solved that problem? I got bigger headphones.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I got bigger headphones. They fit my huge head much better.
Does that mean you're getting younger?
No, it doesn't. It's just I'm just covering it up, So it's all good. It's all good. Are you going to come into town today? What are you going to do?
Yes, I'm going to head out to get there.
What was that?
Yeah. That's my Yorkie. Normally I put her outside because she requires my attention, but it's raining out there. So
Yeah, she's going to probably be out
at
there.
my feet
Barking.
for a tennis ball.
All right, that's all right. That's good. Those dogs, they need to be constantly fed with stuff and attention.
Yes.
So, all right, good job. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Let us know if there's any storm watch coverage we need to be, like overflowing streams or anything like that, or bears. If you see any bears, let me know.
Oh, trust me, if there's a bear, you'll hear me screaming from
Okay.
here.
All right. Good job. Well done. My mother is.
Okay, I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, see you later. My mother is convinced, by the way, that whenever I send her pictures of deer here in town, she's like, "You need a predator in that town. She goes, you need a predator. That's ridiculous. All those deer." I saw a herd of access deer crossing the road. It was like late at night, and it was very impressive. It was like 25 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought they'd all died out, but because you'd see every once in a while, you'd see 2 or 3, but man, to see like 25 of them moving together, and what was particularly strange was that there did not appear to be a male, but there was a whitetail buck that was among them. So maybe he's leading them now. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know how that interspecies things work. But there we go. A couple news notes before we get started with Doug and our crew from Sunflower. Yesterday we saw history being made with Ann Overby becoming the first Precinct 1, the first woman to be seated on the Commissioner's Court, Precinct 1. There was some odd stuff that happened during that thing. We'll talk about more later on, but it was historic because we've never had a woman serve on the Commissioner's Court in the 167-year history of the court. And I asked Joe Herring. I said, "Hey, does anybody of color ever served on this court either?" And we had to go back. He had to go back and look because there was a chance maybe during Reconstruction, that's post-Civil War era, that there might have been a formerly enslaved person that might have been appointed to the court, but that turns out that was not the case. And actually, this area was sort of pro-union, despite one of the Shriners being in the Confederacy, because the Germans here were very pro-union. So they probably were able to, kind of avoid the gaze of the occupying federal troops at the time, and plus we were far away from everything too. So there was that. But that happened yesterday, and Ann didn't really make much of a comment. Really, just kind of moved onto the dais. Harley Ballou, who has been removed from that court, is now in the appeals court trying to argue that he needs to be put back on. But that's going to be a long process, folks. It's going to be like a 60-day process just to get through the initial filings, from what I can tell, if I'm reading the thing correctly. And so it'll be late December before it's actually done. Now he won't even be able to have a chance to run for re-election because, number one, the court order right now says you're a felon. So the Republicans couldn't put him on the ballot in the first place because I think that process will end. This appeals process will end in December. I don't know I don't even know if they'll even hear it by the end of the year. It is supposed to be expedited. And I've heard varying stories that, it's going to take 15 months. I'm like, that seems really long to me, considering the fact that, quo warranto cases are usually appealed pretty quickly. That's going on right now in the courts. Also today, the Kerrville City Council is meeting today. They're going to discuss this $5 million grant to Lennar to put in these homes. And there is, there's strident opposition to this thing. And here's the thing, folks. Like a lot of these things that they're doing, they're utilizing the tools that Texas has provided developers in the legislature. Okay, I mean, this is the thing. Like, if you don't like the way it looks, you need to contact Andy Murr and Pete Flores, who's our state senator, because a lot of these are things that they're able to do. That comes from the state, not the city of Kerrville. So when a developer comes in and says, well, hey, I own this property here. I'm going to develop it. Here's my preliminary plat. And we're going to finance it through a TERS, all infrastructure, which is going to pay us, basically reimburse us for all of the infrastructure costs. And we might make a little money off of it because that's what we do. That's enabled by the state, okay? They can do it, and what we'll hear today probably is the usual freak out, Lennar builds crappy houses. Sure they do. I mean, you can get a crappy house from anybody. Lennar just makes more of them than anybody else, so there's probably more complaining about that as all. Yesterday, Michael Hornis, who's the assistant city manager, went to the commissioner's court to try to get them to participate in the TERS. This is the tax increment reinvestment zone plan that Lennar's put up there, and the commissioner's court just was not going to have any of it. And then Michael Hornis tried to explain, Well, listen, a lot of people are asking why we didn't do this for local builders, and no one seems to be able to scale this thing as fast. Lennard's going to build 60 homes a year for the next 10 years to get to this level. That's their goal. And you think about that. I mean, some of these guys, it might take them a year to build one house. So anyway, but the idea that this is a property rights or a free market capitalism idea, whoop, right over the tops of their heads, right on by. And as I said today in the newsletter, Michael Hornus would have been better off just writing it on a paper scroll on parchment. Here's what we're gonna do, everybody, and here's the scroll for you. Or write it on concrete and just hand it to the commissioners. Because they don't. Then once you put a PowerPoint in front of them, their eyes glaze over. My eyes glaze over, quite frankly, on PowerPoints anymore. So there's that. Speaking of things, we've got some exciting stuff to announce. We're gonna broadcast. I don't think the city knows this yet, but I don't care. We're gonna announce we're gonna broadcast live the Christmas parade again. We did it last year, but Greg A. Richards, attorney at law, has come in to underwrite the presenting sponsorship of that, and then Happy Bank came in and they're doing a secondary sponsorship. So we got two sponsors, which is really good news because I had a piece of equipment fail on me a couple weeks ago, and it was it really ruined my chance to really do a great job at Gibson's, by the way, Doug. So
well, you got a lot of positive comments anyways from the Eclipse. So I mean, you worked around it.
I did. I worked around it for $25, which was good because my $500 piece of equipment failed.
Yeah.
I was trying to get it to work and just wouldn't work.
That's what pros do, Lewis.
I know. We improvise.
Yeah,
we improvise.
that's what you got to do sometimes.
The Eclipse of Gibson's though was one of the more satisfying experiences I've had.
Oh,
here.
yeah? That's good.
Because we had so many people watching.
Yeah, no, it was a popular deal for sure.
I don't know where you were at. I mean, but
dude, I was everywhere. To be honest with you, I wanted my crew to be able to go out and see this thing, so I was in the store. I would come out and take a peek, but it's not the first Eclipse I've seen. So I was trying to cover in the store and let the crew come out. And Buddy Wells, most people know Buddy. He's the older gentleman that pushes the cart around that knows everything, working there 30 years. He sat out in that damn rocking chair for the entire 2.5 hours, and I kept nudging him to make sure he was awake.
Yeah.
You can't see his eyes with those glasses. But
well, he was happy.
Oh, he was loving it. He absolutely loved it.
All right, so around the table, where were you guys at when the eclipse happened?
I was at home.
Did you go watch? Did you have your little glasses on? Did you go watch it?
I did. We set a timer in the kitchen for every 20 minutes, so we would go out because I was cleaning the house. So
Yeah,
I was
right.
Priorities,
I'll
man.
just go, and then I didn't watch it in reverse. I just
yeah. It was pretty amazing. What about you, Sylvia?
I was at home as well.
Yeah.
The kids were with grandma at the donut shop, but yeah, they watched it there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good place to watch.
Yeah.
So when we have the one in, I learned some lessons from photographically and video.
Okay.
So when we have the one in next year, I'm not going to have the completely dark. I'm going to have one camera that's not going to have the completely dark filters on it. I'm going to have one that's sort of pulled back. You will need to wear the glasses though.
Yes.
The leading up to totality.
Yeah.
So
once it hits totality, you take your
you can take your
glasses
glasses off, and that's going to be really cool.
I was talking to one of the NASA guys, and they said binoculars are a big deal.
Yeah.
When totality hits, because it goes dark and you can see stars and everything else. And he said everybody grabs binoculars and looks at stuff with binoculars. I had not thought of that, but that's a great idea.
You have binoculars, right?
We sell a ton of binoculars,
right.
yeah.
All right. Before we get to the sunflower, Doug is here to enrapture us in what he's got. Now, here's a question for you. Now, my wife and I were discussing this yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. It was tough. It was a hard conversation. My nephew has become a fishing guy, big time.
Okay.
But you have some fishing stuff.
We have quite a bit of fishing stuff.
What do you have? We could deck him out with a Gibson's gift basket, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So how old is he?
He's going to be 18.
Oh, 18. Okay.
Yeah.
So I asked because we do have little starter kits. And it's like a little tackle box, and it has all the stuff already in it. It's like, I don't know, $20 or $25.
I don't know if he goes. I don't know because he lives in San Diego, so I don't know if he goes to the beach and surfs and does that, or he does it from. There's probably there's ponds,
streams and lakes and stuff. So we got poles, we got all of the tackle that you could want. Between you want to go old school, we got cane poles. You can do the bobber and hook and weight thing, or we got lures galore. We got little frogs and fish and all sorts of things, and all the knives and all of the tools that you need.
I thought it'd be fun.
accoutrements.
I thought it'd be fun to like build a Gibson's fishing gift basket, like a tool kit almost, and say, here you go, Cade. Go ahead and have it.
Come on by, Lewis, and we'll spend an hour poking around in there, and we'll put it together.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. What do you got for us today? Now we have these guest hosts. I think I can see down here, or these guests are on our show today, who are making their debut on the lead. By the way.
Yeah, nice. Welcome. I don't know why I'm welcoming. I feel like. By the way, I was going to tell you, I feel very intimidated sitting in Julie's chair.
Do you?
Like, I cannot even come close to doing Julie's role here.
Right.
So
you can't. We didn't. I didn't ask you to announce all 103 things going on today.
Yeah, please don't, because I'm going to fail big time at that. So,
but it's okay though. It's like it's good. You know. But now we have a camera that's right on top of you though. So.
I know. Yeah, so I don't have to look like I normally do. So,
all right. So
today we have a theme.
Okay.
Today, and I hope you guys enjoy this because I worked really hard at this.
Yes.
I spent like a 3-minute phone call asking your wife to put all this together.
Right.
The theme today is butter. Butter. And you wouldn't think that butter is a big deal.
Butter is a big deal.
Let me show you.
My house of butter is a mega deal.
This is the standard, butter dish, right?
Yeah,
No
right.
sweat. We have stuff for butter. This is a butter spreader. And it's specifically designed for corn on the cob.
Oh, that's always good.
So you stick the butter in the top and you rub it along your corn on the cob, and you don't get your fingers messy, and then the butter doesn't flop.
Do you remember the movie War Games?
Oh yes.
Remember the scene there
Would
with
you like to play a game?
exactly with the dad, Matthew Broderick's dad is he takes a piece of white bread,
Yes.
and covers it in butter, and then he takes the corn and rolls the corn in it.
I thought that was brilliant.
And then he's like, "This corn is raw."
Yeah. So if you would like to slice your butter evenly,
Oh, that's very nice.
you just push the thing straight through, and you got perfect slices of butter.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's more.
Oh my goodness.
A little brush.
I have one of those.
It's great, right? For doing whatever, brushing the
Yeah,
butter.
when you guys see something you like, then demand it to be handed over to you so you
Yes,
can
please.
inspect
Yeah,
it.
you can fondle this up all you want. Okay, so this is solid glass butter dish. Okay, and this is in no particular order.
Yeah, that's a classic piece though.
Yeah, so it's solid glass, and a lot of people swear by this. They think the plastic gets like humid or whatever, and makes your butter sour. Along with the pastry brush, we have this little guy. So some people, I personally cannot stand these things. My
Really?
wife loves them. She uses them, and I'm going old school. This is the one that I like.
right.
So that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Hold on. This one I thought was cool. This is a butter shredder spreader.
Oh wow.
So you can see it has these little grater type things.
Yeah.
You scrape this across your butter, and then the butter is on there, and then you spread your butter.
That's
pretty fancy, right?
That's a pretty good tool.
Yeah, pretty fancy.
Especially for like if you have like really like hard butter and you want to, it won't melt quickly. That'll help it.
Exactly.
A little, yeah.
Yep. Speaking of butter spreaders, there's fancy ones.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
with the decorative.
All right, pass that around to these ladies.
You got to check those
Yeah.
out. Those are really nice. Yeah, and we sell tablespoons that match those. Actually,
Right.
You can get all themey if you want. If you can get all themey, if you want to go Christmas, we have a couple of other
nice.
variations, and then the good old just standard
Standard butter knife. Right.
Yep. Oops. I'll pass those around for you guys to check out. Back to the corn on the cob. This is another variation. So after you've sliced your butter into perfect little cubes, you could throw your butter in this little thing, and you push it down with your finger, and then you rub it across your corn on the cob.
Wow.
Right?
Oh, yes.
But wait, there's
There's more. There's more.
This is banging the microphone. This is a butter crock. If you've not seen one of these,
I have not.
they're kind of cool. It's really it's meant for bulk butter rather than stick butter. But basically, what it is it's a. I'll turn it to the camera so you can see. It's a container that you put water in, and then this part. Sorry, I'm backwards. This part you put the butter in, and then it goes on top, and the water keeps the butter fresh.
Oh, really?
So you pick this thing up, and then you scoop the butter out from the lid, and you put it back, and it stays fresh for a long time. Yeah. So lots of people really,
I'm surprised
really
it's
like
not in
this.
my house.
Yeah, it probably will be. You guys can open that
Yeah.
if you want to poke around with
I
it.
think my mom would like this.
Are you getting some gift
Christmas
ideas?
present.
Yeah.
Two more. This is, if I can squeak around the microphone, another cool butter dish.
It's a whale.
Themed like a whale.
Right.
Where's Dalton Dover when you need him?
I know.
The anti-ocean guy.
Yeah.
Scared of everything in the ocean.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that. And then, as if all of that
I
butter...
did. By the way, weren't you surprised by that, Dalton? I wouldn't expect
know,
Dalton
yeah.
to be afraid of anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a tough guy, but,
But,
clearly
yeah.
doesn't like the ocean. So as if all that butter stuff wasn't enough,
Oh, it's a butter churn.
you can actually make your
that's
own
cool.
butter.
Yeah.
Right? Which I did by mistake
Did
once.
it right?
Yeah. I was trying to make whipped cream and I let it go.
Let it go and then make him in the butter.
Yeah, so typical. Most people have probably seen this sort of thing before. But yeah, you just put your milk in there and churn away.
Isn't it amazing how clever we are as a species that we invented butter?
Yeah, butter and
Yeah.
bacon, the two greatest
Yeah,
inventions ever.
right. By the way, we are now like 5 weeks away from the 12 days of Gibson's Giftmas, starting December 1st here on the lead. Do you got? I mean, how
I
is
should have
it?
saved some of this for that.
Well,
huh?
no. I mean, I think you can revisit it. So for sure, it's interesting though.
Yeah. So there's 15 things just in our store,
In your
just
store.
for butter.
For butter.
Right.
Just for butter.
And all of these would be great to have though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, this is my butter cabinet.
Right.
Right. You know?
Right. This is how this works. Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
So anyway.
Amazing.
There you go.
Absolutely amazing. What else you got going on at Gibson's these days? What else are you working on?
Man, we got a lot of stuff always going on. We're obviously ramping up for Halloween. We got all kinds of stuff. When you come into the store now and take a right, there's a gigantic pumpkin.
Yeah.
Inflatable pumpkin.
Do you have that giant skeleton thing?
He's still in there, yeah.
Is he? How much does that cost?
I want to say he's like $70.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah. But he's 12 feet tall.
You know
He's
what?
huge.
You know what I thought would be
cheap.
cool is that it would be fun to put him in my I have this area on the side of my house where it's like he can be hidden in there, you know, like he's just looking out at you, you know. Because it's like all cedar, and you can just jam
I
them into the
see.
cedar
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and then people you just be kind of peeking out.
Yeah, his
There's
face-
actually videos, like stop motion videos of that particular model of skeleton.
Okay. Yeah, his face kind of looks like Skeletor to me,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
from He-Man or
Yeah.
whatever. But there's an interesting, you know, Bigfoot is big.
Yeah.
Bigfoot, everybody loves Bigfoot now,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, Sasquatch, and we call him El Squatcho over whatever. So we're starting to incorporate that little game into some of our Facebook posts. So you'll be able to zoom in and try to find Bigfoot in some of our Facebook
Yeah.
posts. We're kind of like hiding him in there, which takes a lot of editing on my part, but whatever. I like it.
Yeah.
So.
A couple things on the chat here. Good morning from Bit Johnson, who is, by the way, Andrew's mother. Yeah, she always watches the show. She's pretty diehard. And then Carrie Davis saying, "I love it when Doug is on. Always exciting stuff from Gibson's. Thanks for the looking forward to Giftmas." Jerry Magnol saying she loves Halloween. She probably could use that 12-foot tall
Yeah, bring it on, man.
skeleton. I use the Kilmer butter maker. Great for kids to do. They watch it become butter. Cool stuff.
Yeah,
From Carrie Davis.
sweet.
Yeah.
And you got fresh butter. I
Yeah.
mean, like, come on.
Dalton's wife, Catherine Dover, is saying she loves a good butter crock. And is she watching QVC? Where does she claim stuff? So there we go.
I think she should buy the whale butter dish
Yeah,
for Dalton.
yeah. Just
to help him conquer his
Right.
fear
Right.
of ocean animals.
All right. Sunflower Banks here. Hannah and so I'm just going. Here's the thing, right? I don't do nicknames very well. So like when someone has like a proper name, like Sylvita. So that's a good one. I like it a lot. What do you guys got going on? What is this plan you have? Tell us all about it. I know it's like if you get an A, you get some bucks. But tell us about how this works.
So the ABC program it's like 3-in-1 basically to help support the schools. And I know it's been around since 2001. Obviously, we weren't around since 2001 here. We were just acquired back in May of 2022. But Sunflower Bank has been around since 1870. And they started this program in 2001, and since then they've raised $1.6 million for schools, and it's for schools in Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, New Mexico, and Texas. They've been in Texas, fun fact, since 1870. The first one was in El Paso, and I think that's the only one that they've had since they acquired our Texas market. So they've been doing this great program. Basically, how it works is the schools and students. Oh yeah, there it is. Every time one of our bank customers use their school registered bank debit cards to make their purchases, 2 cents will go to that school. So when we have our customers inside the bank and they want to get a debit card, we'll ask them, hey, do you want to enroll in one of the 3 schools? We support KISD, Centerpoint, and Ingram ISD.
Yes.
So I know we've had a round of checks from last year because we did it last year. And we advertised, but it didn't really get out there.
Yeah.
So we did have a few of the kids from Ingram because Sylvia's from Ingram.
Yeah.
She spread it around.
Ingram
and got
pride
some-
inside, baby.
Yeah. I'm from Harper, so I'm
Yeah.
But,
You're a Longhorn, though.
yeah, I love Harper too. So we started this last year. We raised the money. We asked our customers, hey, with this debit card, do you want to enroll it in what school do you want to enroll in? And they'll let us know, yeah, let's do Ingram or Kerrville. And so throughout the year, each time they swipe, 2 cents goes aside to that school. I know we raised $500 so far for KISD, $500 for Ingram. And we had a little more,
800.
It was $820 for Ingram
Yeah.
and $500 for Centerpoint. And the only reason Ingram got more is because the report card winners, we matched that and we put it towards the school.
Good.
So we had 5 winners from Ingram last year. I think the highest amount paid out was like $90 because they can get up to $100. But so like I said, I got off topic. There are 3 ways to do it. So there's the 2 cents per swipe year round. And then for the kids, there's getting paid for A's. So
Send in your report card.
yeah, so from
Right.
now, November 1st to December 31st, you can enter into the drawing. You can either email me or
You
Sylvia
don't have to bank.
or bring it in. Yeah, you don't have to bank with us. And we pick the winners. So we kind of just put them all in a pile and we'll draw. And that's how I chose last year. And for each A they get $10 and it's up to $100.
Okay.
So it's just like a little incentive for the kids to want to do good in school.
Yes.
And then, like I said, we match whatever they get on their report cards. So I think it was like $350, I think, that we matched to go towards Ingram. And I mean, that's how much the kids had gotten. So, I mean, it was awesome. And they were super excited.
Yeah, I bet.
Came in with their big old check.
Yeah, well,
taking
we have a big
pictures.
check and we wrote their name on it and we wrote the amount they were getting.
Right.
And they were they were super excited and the smiles on their face was worth it.
Of course
so.
it was. Yeah, that's fantastic. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Good news.
And then there is one more way.
Okay.
It's earn $5 for each new checking account. So each new checking account that comes in, if they say, I want to support KISD, we'd put in a code and then $5 goes to
Automatically.
the school
Yeah.
automatically.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then I get the checks and then I present them to the schools.
Okay. That's good news. I mean, that's something that I was when Sylvia sent me the note the other day, I was like, okay, that sounds like a good plan. And
Yeah.
you people are right across the street. Walk on over
Yeah.
and be on the show. Hey, so, just a shameless plug here for Sunflower Bank. What kind of deals are you guys got right now? What's the latest, I should say?
Well, we still have a 5.5 14-month CD
Okay.
with $1,000. I did get a notice that it will be going away and they're replacing it with a shorter term CD. I don't know any of the specifics right now, but I do have a meeting tomorrow in San Marcos with all the other heads of Sunflower Bank. So hopefully they'll shed some more light on what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
We've got some great money markets accounts, which I know, a lot of people are doing those as well because they don't want to tie up. They want to see what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
If the Fed's going to raise or if they're going to go down. So they've been parking it in the money markets. Our money markets do require a checking account, but like I said, you can send $5 over to the school, opening up a checking account. You only need $100, and we have a $200 new customer program going on. So you just have to have, I think, like $500 direct deposit,
Yeah.
25 debit card swipes, and then you get $200 after being with us for like 3 months.
The proprietor of this facility usually he goes on these little jaunts at times, and he has a circuit. and the circuit is Sunflower Bank, and then maybe Broadway Bank, and then all of a sudden he appears out of the back. He's very mysterious.
Okay.
Never can predict when he is, but he's like, I love my Sunflower Bank. I love my Broadway Bank. So I mean, it's funny. I funny how people have multiple banks, to do stuff with.
Yes.
So because I think
I've got 3.
do you really?
Yeah.
Wow. So interesting. Does that make sense to have a relationship with different banks through the years? I mean, that's kind of an interesting idea, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I have like my rent account in one bank. Like I set aside money. I'm one of those that like, I want to take the money out of my account and put it into savings account. So I have like 10,000 savings accounts for each different bill.
Yeah.
And because I know myself, I'll spend the money if it's in my account.
Right.
So I like to spread it around, and I like to spread it at other banks because I can't access it as easily.
Right.
So
That
that's just me.
It'll
makes
force
sense,
self-control.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Doug, do you guys have? Who do you
I have multiples, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. I have one of the big banks for a lot of my stuff, and then I also, because I was in the Coast Guard, I have the Coast Guard Credit Union,
Yeah.
and I use those guys for like auto loans. They're cheaper than
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
else for auto loans.
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah, you have one for your auto,
Yeah.
one for, CDs or however.
Yeah, you have those sort of kind of those categorical. These are what I'm going to spend my money on only kind of accounts, so restricted funds type things. We all need that. We all need that discipline.
yeah, a little compartmentalization.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I tell you what, I've been struggling with the big banks for my own personal business is that when we have subscribers, right? A lot of times what we're finding now is that the big banks especially will block, and I think it's like it's a good thing. They'll block subscriptions because they view it as suspicious because it's a $7.99. And I kind of I'm kind of empathetic to that because we had a situation where we were duped into subscribing for a healthcare service, which you have to be really careful on these things too. Where I thought it was going one way, and then the next thing I know, I'm subscribing to this thing. And I finally had to have, we use Citibank. I had to have them block this company from accessing our funds, and it was like $14 a month,
Yeah.
But it's like, well, that adds up a lot.
Yeah, it
so but I have like 15 customers now who've had their subscriptions blocked by the banks over, like, I guess it has to be fraud concerns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Sure, yeah.
there's so many scams and frauds going on right now. I mean, I know our department is on high alert, and even if it's just you went to another city, they're questioning it because they want to make sure.
Right.
Because fraud is just insane today.
It's crazy.
So.
Yeah, it was crazy when I traveled a couple weeks ago or a few weeks ago, beginning of the month, and I was like trying to use credit cards,
And it's
like
blocked.
didn't work here, but this one worked there, and then this one didn't work, and this one, I remember, and it's great until you always have to remind yourself, like, you better let the credit card company know ahead
Travel
of time.
alerts.
Traveling alerts,
Yep.
yeah.
Always do that.
I got into Atlanta one time, and I have a Discover card, and it had a pretty big, availability, and it was blocked because I was trying to. It was like 11 o'clock at night, trying to check into a hotel, and I'm like, let me figure this out. So that was like a little panic-inducing, but very good. All right, anything else going on with you guys? Thanks for being on the show for the first time.
Oh yeah,
Thank you
You
for
weren't.
having
It wasn't
us.
nervous, were you?
Yes.
just a little.
Just a little. Just a little. Okay. All
You're
right.
not nervous now, though.
No.
No, now you're
It's
relaxed.
all
Pros
good.
now.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah. You can come on again. That's the thing I love about the show is that you can come on and be, all we do is have, just conversations. That's why Doug is on the show all the time.
Because I talk.
He talks. He talks
lot,
and talks
yeah.
a lot. Right. Okay. Well, that's good. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Let's put this up one more time. Again, one more time for everybody. What is this thing again? Here it is.
ABC
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely update y'all on what the kids, or we can even show y'all pictures or send y'all pictures of the kids and their big checks.
If call us. What's our phone number?
830-792-6655.
Yeah. Right.
So you can send them through email.
Yep.
So I can print them or stop on by.
Yep.
We have them.
Yep.
Right.
And then we will contact the winners and
January 4th.
Mm-hmm.
The parents come in and the children come in, and it's just fun. I like it. That's the best day to me.
That is a good day.
That's a good working day.
That's the thing I like about, when I look back at this last year, we've been able to donate some money to some things that were kid friendly. Like we gave money for Newsies, and I just did money for a scholarship, and then I gave money for the Special Opportunity Center. Like those are deeply satisfying things because like there, and you have people out there like, and that's the way I look at it too. Like there's some people who can give a lot, but those people who don't have a lot and they give, I mean that really matters too.
It matters a lot. Yeah. Can I throw you guys a softball pitch?
Yeah, there we go.
Softball.
No.
You ready?
Here
This
it
is
is,
off the
right.
cuff. This is really easy. So this is a personal inquiry that I have, and I'm just curious. I'm sure that other people who use big banks would have the same question. What is the benefit of dealing with a local small bank versus one of
there you
those great big guys? Why go with you guys?
I feel like we know everybody. We know everybody that walks through the door. We know them by name.
Right.
I've personally been there for 7 years. Pat, she was there for 21 years. She just retired in September. I mean, I feel like people just came in to talk to her. So it's just, I mean, we like to, I mean, I've joined many chambers, the Women's Chamber, the Kerrville Chamber, the West Kerr Chamber. I'm going out to all these networking events because I want to, I want to know everybody.
Yeah, right.
So I want to be able to, know what business you're in or, what do you do for a living? Do you like it?
Yeah.
I mean, I like people. I like talking to people.
When Jeremy rolls in there, what do you guys say? Oh, here comes that guy again.
No, he comes through. He walks over all the time, and he'll just go through our drive-through all the time.
Lanes and I'm like, oh, who's here?
Yeah, there's
right.
no car out there.
Yeah, it's just Jeremy.
Yeah.
Just typical. Because usually it smells like beer, so you don't want him in there. You don't want him in the.
That's why he goes to the drive-thru.
Yeah. You don't want him in there.
And we like coming over on Thursdays for, I think his mom makes a cake.
The
Or,
daisy
Oh yeah, the daisy
Yes.
cake.
Oh my God,
That's
it's
his
so
mother-in-law. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's usually a daisy cake. There's two people who get it first and foremost: Clifton Pfeiffer from the Doyle Center, and then Mark Walter, who is one of our good friends here too. He and his wife Laura. They share it. Daisy cake. So
Oh, I couldn't.
just
share
a little apple cake, cinnamon apple cake, right? I can't have it either. So many good things going on. Doug, thanks for that question, though.
Yeah, no, I was just curious.
It's just a lot of customers also, they're like, oh, well, I have to call a lot or wait in line. And yes, that happens with Sunflower, but I mean, we can do it too. Like if you want to wait, I tell the customers, like, you want to wait? That's fine. I'll call for you.
Okay.
You know, instead of them being online, and I get it's frustrating. But that's another thing. It's like, okay, well, you're local. I can help you. You'll know us. I mean,
And we answer our phones.
We answer the phones.
answer the
That's a
phones
key.
unless we're really, really busy.
That is a
but
key.
Which is, yeah.
This is what I love.
There's more of
This
us.
is what I do love about being here is that you have these relationships with people. You build them over. Like this is the thing I like about it being here the most. So I can go over to Gibson's. I can find you. Dalton yesterday helped me with I had a battery situation. He helped me with that. So it was, there's, and then I asked Dalton, I said, where should I get my brakes done? He gave me like 4 or 5 really good suggestions, and so same thing here. Now, do you guys have questions for Doug? It's your turn now. Gibson's. Do you have a Gibson story you want to share?
No. I mean, I like
Gibson's.
Yeah, I like going and walking around in there.
Yeah.
finding everything. I mean, it's like, oh wow, they have so much stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Is there anything though
But
that
it's
you've ever
good.
bought? You're like, oh. See, my favorite thing from Gibson's that I bought, other than my George Strait shirt collection, is my Whirly Pop popcorn.
Oh
popper.
yeah, the
So-
Whirly Pop.
Those are the best.
Well, the last thing I bought from there was the googly eyes because
Oh,
I was gonna go around to the different places and put the googly eyes
Yeah.
on there, but Karma got me because they didn't have the sticky side, so I couldn't do it
Couldn't
anyway.
do it there. You couldn't do it there. What was your reaction sitting next to Andrew and his beautiful wife Beth in their alien costumes?
Well, at first
I was like, oh wow, they're sitting with us.
Yes, right.
at first I was like, what are they? Like I thought
I was like, are
what
they jellyfish?
Yeah,
I
we
don't
thought they were
know.
jellyfish,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then they came closer and they had the alien mask
Yeah,
on,
right.
and I was like, that is so awesome.
It
And
is
she
awesome.
said they just spent the whole day, I guess, creating it. They made it out of cardboard.
Yeah.
Or I was like, that's creative.
That
Y'all
is
can
very
make my
creative.
costumes any
Exactly.
day.
But the real gem of the night though for the Chamber Awards was Mike Whitler. Godzilla.
God.
Oh yeah, I tripped over his tail.
She did.
I did.
Yeah, if you watch the show, we tease Mike ruthlessly about. I would cue up the Godzilla videos for him when he was on here. I'm like, how do you solve this problem, Mike? Like Godzilla's destroying power lines. So his wife was dressed up as a power line tower,
Yeah.
the high
nice.
tension line tower. So, Doug, you didn't dress up for the Cobra show.
I dressed up like a Cobra driver,
Yeah, exactly.
which is really just a sweatshirt
Exactly.
and a pair of jeans. Yeah.
Good. All right, you guys. I'm going to throw you out of here so you guys can go home and go back to work and get done. I'm going to talk a little bit about some politics here. And Doug, that means Doug's going to flee from the facility.
I will stay out of the politics.
All right. Thank you guys for being
Thank you
here.
again.
Thanks.
All right, folks. As we say goodbye to these folks, thank you guys very much, and appreciate you guys being on here. And you're always welcome. Yesterday, not only did we have the discussion about what we were talking about the commissioner's court, which is always fun and fascinating to talk about, but they had a discussion yesterday that they felt the need to have, and that was Jonathan Letts and Don Harris. And Don Harris announced to folks that he said, "Well, I'm not ashamed to be white." And when I first listened to it, I didn't really hear what he was saying, and then I got some text messages from people who were like, "Did Don Harris just say that he's proud to be white?" And yeah, he did. And you look at the context of it; it was sort of like this weird kind of racist, sexist bit, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. And he continued to double down on that, and I was like, wow. Like I think it's cool, I'm such a mutt myself. And I have some pride in some of the things that, ethnically that I'm part of. We have a strong Hispanic side of our family. We have a German side of our family. We have a Scotch-Irish side of the family. We have a Native American side of the family, which is fascinating too. That is not U.S. Native Americans, but from Central America. And we're also my last name is Basque, so there's a lot of pride in some of those things. And when I was living in Bakersfield, California, which has the second largest Basque population in the United States, outside of Boise, Idaho, we participated in those cultural events. Am I white? I guess so. I'm a Caucasian, but I have some other things inside. I mean, it was fascinating. We discovered the Native American part, and that came through DNA testing, which kind of shattered some of the myths that we had about our own family. But do I identify like, oh, I'm proud to be white? Woohoo! No, I don't ever think about that actually at all. But for some people, they do think about it. Like they think that there's this thing like with the Black Lives Matter piece, and what this whole thing is about being woke is like we can't recognize the obstructions in our history. And I had somebody the other day who was asking me like, there really was a segregated school here? I'm like, yeah. There was a segregated school here in Kerrville, and segregation was a way of life in Kerrville until about 1965. And I'd argue that segregation probably existed in some ways into the 80s, and now it's slowly being rolled back, but it's taken years and years. And I always remember this too. A pastor once said to me, I have a lot of respect for. She said, look, people want us to forget what happened here, but those people who want us to forget were also part of that. They were alive during that period. They still are. And, if you look back right now, on some of these issues, like, how do you just forget about something that you have a memory of, Oh, I was treated like garbage as a black person. Or I was Hispanic and I was treated poorly like a Hispanic person. There's a tone deafness to that. Yeah. Kirk County is mostly white, but over the last 10 years, it's become more and more Hispanic, aligning with actually how Texas is starting to look. And, to say, both Jonathan Letts and Harris made comments to the effect that, well, yeah, my district is an all white district kind of thing, or precinct. Well, in Jonathan Letts' case, no, it's probably not, because the Doyle neighborhoods are in his precinct. The historically black and Hispanic neighborhoods are part of that. So to say that you are the face of your district, not necessarily true. Maybe for the ranchers and people out in the in East Kerr County, where his precinct kind of wraps around, that might be the case. But in the part of Kerrville that he represents, no, not necessarily at all. So both of these guys, I think they were pushing back against Judge Kelly's, assertion that, that the court was a bunch of white guys, and that, they were on Medicare because they're all older, and Don Harris says, well, my gray hairs give me wisdom. I'm like, well, sure, I guess. I don't think that, our cognitive abilities, this is one of the things we're talking about right now, is, we're going to have a presidential race with an 80-year-old and a 77-year-old, or whatever, how old Trump's going to be, and so, what do we, is that, demographically, the older population is a key demographic. But does that mean that they should represent us in elected officials? And does that mean that they have wisdom on things that benefits the future generations? I would say probably not. Because at some point we all fall victim to this, and Jonathan Letts made this very clearly yesterday, that he didn't like some self-service module on filing, planning documents that the city of Kerrville uses, making it very clear that, I don't want to have this kind of newfangled technology. I get it, but I don't want to have it. I don't want to make it mandatory. Okay. And once again, yesterday, we also had the conversation again about hand counting ballots. And, and you had the people who are on the far, far right of right up there saying, we need to have sequentially ordered, paper ballots. And then you have the county people come up there saying, we already do this. How do we not make this more clear to you folks? And also, we're also, and it's just, it's never ending. And of course, the court, listened to it as they had to. But it's not, it's just, it's one of those things where we're wasting our time on this again, and, if there was a younger, people on the court, maybe that will change. Now, Ann Overby definitely brings the court's numbers down. She's 58 years old, so she's a ways away from Social Security and everything else that's on there. But I think that what reminded me, yesterday strongly was that, man, there needs to be the ability to recall people, and there needs to be the ability to have term limits. I never was a big fan of term limits. And now I see it, like at some point, there's some real danger in that, and not having a limit on someone's, length of office. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. And it's funny how you change through the years. Like I thought, if you look at term limits as an example, the term limits, Jonathan Letts has been on this dais for 27 years. He'll be on for 28. He's won 7 elections to get this far. Is that a benefit to the county? Well, there's definitely some institutional knowledge on that. Does it also hinder the county? Certainly, because I think when you're in power that long, you kind of take things for granted sometimes too. So, term limits in some cases, we look at term limits as an ideal for keeping things in check. Not always a good idea. But in some cases, yeah, it's probably going to be a good idea. Probably a good idea for the Supreme Court. Probably a good idea for Congress, quite frankly, because these guys sit there and yeah, they can get some things done the more experience they have. But I mean, work together, figure it out. So we'll see. I don't know. I can have somebody can make the argument to me, and I might change my mind. But we'll see how that goes. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for joining us on a Tuesday. Stay dry out there. It's kind of exciting. It's cool and wet. Or cooler and wet. So it was pretty warm in here right now. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for being with us. We'll see you guys again tomorrow.
No holding back, no stepping stones, no broken promises, no busy tones. Just what it takes, just make believe.